Alright, my last video got cut off. My plan to stay inside of 10 minutes did not work. I try to, add flourish to my vids with some humor to begin with, but, these things are important. I just gotta try to be concise. Maybe I should write this out. I'm pretty good at memorizing the script, but... Alright, Alex Jones. This is, part 2 to the last one. The thing about him, you know what I'm talking about. If you've paid any close attention to what he says, the oft-spoken dictum of, 8 parts truth, 2 parts nonsense. Sometimes he changes that to, 4 parts truth, 6 parts nonsense. Sometimes it's 9 parts truth. The tactic these people maintain is telling you all this wow stuff that you could find out on your own, but you don't because you don't really know how to start, but it's all out there. So you get this feeling of appreciation for what they're doing. They all want money. They all want, usually sometimes like Alex Jones is selling stuff. But the underlying point that they're making is that you have got to do something. We have got to do something. But if you notice, none of them say what to do. I mean, it's way beyond writing your congressman or congresswoman. We're way past that. That doesn't work for anybody. It's way past, even a wealthy person can't get through to anybody. There's no practical framework for a citizen to make a complaint that makes a difference. You could throw a protest. Those people laugh at you. I mean, when I saw the sneers and the smiles from Newt Gingrich when Occupy Wall Street was going on. We're past the point of being informed. The nitpick details about these things that Alex Jones goes on and on about with the eugenicists, he calls them, the Bilderberg group. None of that can be verified by anybody. We are forced to take his word for it, that him and his operation, all these people that they scour whatever is available to verify all these things that they say. But he usually just pulls it right off AP or from some other thing like Drudge or just an ulterior thing. He puts it together like it's all official and no doubt about it. But if any of you ever tried to find out anything, you just listen to it and you believe it. The FEMA camp thing. Really, I mean, if he cared about that, this looming threat that they talk about with the FEMA camps, anybody who was really in the know about that kind of thing would make it very clear with maps, graphs, and they tell you where these places are. It would be systematic. I mean, I think the FEMA camps exist, but I think it's exaggerated. I really just think that when things really shit hits the fan, the government is going to shut down the grid. And they won't really need to put people in camps. Do you have any idea how frightening it would be if electricity was shut off, if the internet went down, if people didn't get their Social Security checks? Year by year, they get more and more people on these subsidized social programs. And the reason they do that is not to help people. It's to get people dependent, to lessen the chance of a monumental amount of people going into an opposition mode against their agenda. Because they pull the plug on those people. Wow. And they could. And that's what's really frightening about this. What needs to be done is to take these evil people out and still maintain the grid and still maintain all these things. That's the only thing that has to be done. You know, you watch Alex Jones or Glenn Beck or anybody that just goes on and on and on about all these details about the corruption. And they work so hard at doing that, but they don't work a millisecond towards telling you what to do about any of it. None of it. I was cut off my last vid. I was talking about a Syrian girl. You know, Syrian girl. She's the gorgeous girl from Syria. The gorgeous girl from Syria that's a guest on Alex Jones and Corbett. And she talks about all this stuff that you can't verify either. And you notice she does the same tactic. She appears to criticize Israel, but portrays Israel in a way that is really in line with a very, very deeply thought out hope of the way the world will see Syria and the Assad regime. She has never made a video speaking in her native language, addressing her own people. Only videos to us. Like 100 of them. She gives interviews to people. You couldn't get an interview with her, but James Corbett can, and Alex Jones and Morris. What? You know, why are we supposed to believe this person? Who is she? I know they're giving out a name, but there's no verification. I mean, just... There's no reason to believe she's from Syria or really has anything to do with anything other than, you know, this disinformation campaign of people. So, I mean, before I run out of my 10 minutes, my point, you know, in all seriousness, is we're to the point of having to do something about this problem. If Barack Obama is seriously, you know, this communist criminal who in the 1950s would have been brought before the McCarthy hearings, hypothetically, and proven, his father is Frank Marshall Davis, this underground communist. His mother is Jewish, and she did all kinds of crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. She basically ripped her son's citizenship away. Brought him to Indonesia, of all places. Had him subscribe to a Muslim faith, you know, Muslim faith, and all these different things that are just crazy. In my opinion, Barack Obama just despises the memory of his mother and is loyal to the father that he will never, ever admit to being his father. You want to make some waves? Get somebody who is in the press room with the president and ask him directly, is Frank Marshall Davis your father? It would be amazing to see him say no to that, because I think nothing is more important to Barack Obama than the ideals of his real father. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about action, not talking. Alex Jones has made millions and millions and millions off of people. After talking about hypothetical genocide in America, he cuts away to tangy tangerine commercials. How can you take a person like that seriously? He has powerful friends who, if they pooled their money, could make things happen and draw people in to make a progressive, proactive, social movement happen. He didn't budge an inch to do something like that. That's what gives him away. No matter how extreme you think his crazy background is, if he's Bill Hicks or not. So what? It's just that he talks and talks and talks while having the power to do something about the things he complains about constantly and doesn't. We listen to Steve Pieczenik go on and on and on. Look at the contacts he has, the knowledge he has that he could give to the people. If they cared, they would all round together and convince the military to help us. It's all bull. It's disinformation tactics to pacify the public. Same way that Michael Moore does it. Same way as Glenn Beck does it. Crap. And it works. because people are confused and they're upset and they're powerless. And this is what they do, is basically just to scare you into complacency. That's why I want to call him out. And that's why I want your help to help me do that. Because I believe that we can shut him down and anyone like him and then go after the real criminals without losing the grid of the country and get our country back.